Well, hello, everybody. Good morning to you. Good morning to all. We are back here with the Counterpoint. It is Monday, the 7th of October. How are we all doing? Slap your comments in the section below. We do have the debrief, which I'm very excited. Mr. Wayneman is also joining myself, Oscar, and Gabe later on at 6 o'clock. Make sure you guys are around for that fantastic show, which I have to say was an absolute hoot last week. We went for, I think it was about an hour and 47 minutes, and you guys were all absolutely loving it. Before we start as well, everybody, we are sponsored by Football Prizes. IPM Group is the sponsor of the channel. However, all of your CCTV security needs, keep it in the Leeds United community. Link in the description below. Have a look, everyone. Well worth it. I've already snagged a couple of bits off there for cheap prices as well. So make sure you check that. I'll just get a few comments in before we start going. Ina says, hello, morning, fellas. Jay in the building. Lee says, put the heating on, you tight git. I will not, mate. I am from Yorkshire. I will not be putting the heating on in this current climate. Absolutely not. It's the jacket all day for me. We should have put the game to bed in the second half, but we started playing sideways. If we kept on front foot, Mez's area wouldn't have been a problem. Look, I'm sure we will get into that. Hi, Connor, Joe, everybody. Hello, everybody. And without any further ado, the man with the Leeds United plan, Mr. Joe Wayman. How we doing, mate? All right.
Bro, I'm laughing my head off because I'm like, what closed circuit security have you bought like round Chicago?
Mate, I live in Manchester. Trust me. I've had to get a few bits.
It's got all ring doorbell and that. Right, who's here?
How'd you guess? You been round?
Yeah,
how you doing, mate? All right.
Posting through letterbox saying, don't bring up Rothwell.
How you doing,
I'm
mate?
all right, mate. Yeah, I had a nice weekend away with the family back in Yorkshire. That was really nice. Got to drive, obviously, down there, which was brutes. Like, my back's in bits. But other than that, mate, like, yeah, good. Like, I'm over Friday. We'll talk about it, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to bring you right back. No, mate, it was. I was the same. Obviously, it was my birthday.
Oh, was it? I didn't know, bro. Happy birthday.
You know, it's not a lot. Not like we've known each other 5 or 6 years or anything like that. But
when's mine?
I don't need to say that on the stream. So the 3rd of October, yeah, it was. So got a surprise, Joe. It feels like I'm jet setting. I'm really not. I went away to Hamburg for 2 nights. The missus brought me a little surprise. Went straight out there, and then I said to her, I said, well, what time are we getting back on Friday? And I was thinking, right, I'm going to catch the game here, but I've got to be careful. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to make her feel like, I'm not appreciative. And she went, oh, well, we're getting back at around about 10 p.m. And I went, 10 p.m. Oh, that sounds lovely, that. Yeah, it sounds great. Okay. So,
I did have a look and I was like, oh, he's not doing it for us.
No watch along, no instant match reaction, nothing. So, yeah, mate, it was
that as well, bro. Banged.
Yeah, it did. I think I'm going to start doing it at 1 a.m. from now onwards, to be honest. But yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I was watching the first bit of it in the airport. Actually, I had one of these legal streams. Peru scored, and I gave it one in the airport on the way back. But I was already seething from them scoring, as you can imagine, Joe. Inside 9 minutes, I wasn't seething. I was just like, oh, of course. But yeah, mate. I tell you what, we'll get into it. We've got the show list at the top there. Overall, what were your thoughts on it? Leeds United going up there, getting a point. We'd started at the beginning of the week and said, look, 2 points. I think we said bare minimum, really, 2 points. Yeah. I've not spoken to you since Norwich, to be honest. So maybe just bring that into it as well if you can. And overall, what are your thoughts on the week that we've had?
All right. I think there's loads. I don't want to because we'll probably talk about the midfield, of course, at some point. But I've got some thoughts on that. Look, Norwich haven't been beaten since Bonfire Night, I believe it is, at their place. Sunderland hadn't lost at home and hadn't even conceded a goal. So get a point away. Win your home games. I do think I did get shot down for this, but I think the penalty attempt save is poor, and then also
we've got him.
And also the error. So you could argue it could have easily been 6 with them moments in time. Even if we don't look at the penalty save, even if we look at Rodon forgiving the penalty, so it's 2 moments in time that have cost us another 4 points on top of what we've got. But what I am enthused by is performances in both games. I don't think we were as good against Norwich as we were against Sunderland, and I think a lot of that was due to the mess up we had in midfield. Obviously, Gruev and Tanaka first start, and then it's Rothwell and Tanaka. So I think there's a lot of context on the Norwich result. I am impressed with the resilience shown by Leeds, because ultimately you're going to Sunderland, the team that haven't been beaten at home, haven't conceded a goal. You go down within the first 10 minutes and you manage to bring it back, and also then strangle the game away from Sunderland. And we were the better team. I think, some Sunderland fans are telling me, oh, it was a fair result and stuff. I disagree. I think Leeds were by and far the better side after that initial 10 minutes. I think we allowed them to have the ball in the second half, much like we did against Coventry. Again, we can talk about being profligate in front of goal and should we have finished it off and all that sort of stuff. But it's 2 moments in time that have cost us. It's a penalty and the thing. And look, we're fifth in the league. We're 3 points off the top. And we've played some perceived decent teams in this division now. Yes, we haven't beat them. I know people remind me of that, but we've played West Brom, we've played Sunderland, we've played Coventry, I think, decent. I think Hull will be decent. Obviously, Sunderland as well. And I think we've been the best. But I think we've been the better team in every single game so far this season, Connor. You can critique our performances and say we weren't as good as this game and we're not at our top levels. But I don't think anyone in this division yet can chat to us. We've got Sheffield United. Let's see what they bring when we're back. But I still think far and away we're the best team in the league, and I'm totally fine.
Yeah. Norwich was an interesting one. I thought they were pretty good in a few areas. To be fair, I thought they had a good press. I thought it was triggered as well when certain personnel in our back line received the ball. They were fit. I thought they were a really fit team. Pause. But yeah, it was one of those where they were just. I thought they were all right. They were a decent team, but I still felt like we could have gone third, fourth, fifth gear. It was weird. Like, maybe last season I'd have turned around and gone, "No, they were really good. Like, they deserve this, that, and the other." But I wanted to get your thoughts on Farke, and this is probably where the first, I guess, counterpoint would be. I thought, and I guess on reflection now and hindsight's 2020 in it, but I do look back at that game and think that, and you probably saw as well, but the last sort of like 15 minutes, and I get it sort of with the squad being decimated, I thought would have won it, Joe. I thought Ramazani was getting into it a lot more. I thought he was growing a bit. I thought you really started to see him and Nonto really flourish in sort of the 5 to 10 minutes before Ramazani was taken off. I guess it's conservation. I get it going into the Sunderland game. But I think my point was, well, now he's taken those 2 off. And even Firpo, to be fair, and obviously Byram came on, didn't he? But I thought to myself, right, well, 3 points against Sunderland then. And maybe that was a tad harsh, but I did think to myself, he keeps those on for the first 15 minutes. So the last 15 minutes, Norwich were dropping. McLean, Duffy, Doyle were knackered. And then suddenly, the last 15 minutes, I thought there was only one team that were going to win it, and that was Norwich. What were your thoughts on that?
I think you'd be very critical. Very critical. I remember saying on the watch along at the time that the subs have done us again with the 4-4-2 and Bamford and Pirro. But again, I have to look, if we had James, if we had Solomon, if we had a full quarter of attacking options, I don't think he makes them changes. I think because he's probably taking Ramazani off on the 60th minute, as he said they planned to do anyway, because he's got options off the bench. I just think he's kept them on for as long as he can. He mentioned, obviously, Nonto and Ramazani maybe struggling to get back and defend like they had been without being able to go back and watch that. I take his word for that. I can't remember any moments, but I think you are being harsh, mate. I think, look, the subs didn't work. Don't get me wrong, but I think with us playing on the Friday, that's what they've had to be made for. I have to take his, and this is where we will disagree, but I have to take his word on that. And I know some who don't like Farke will say, no, he's cost us or whatever, but yeah, and you can have that opinion. And look, the subs didn't help the performance, but I have to look at it and say, well, that was due to necessity more than him actually wanting to do it. But I do agree with you. Nonto and Ramazani were really starting to cook. I mean, Nonto for the last 3 now has been absolutely phenomenal for me. Yeah. He's carrying us really. Looks quality. So, yeah, I think you've been a bit bit harsh, bro, but that I'm a Farker stan, aren't I? So I'm going to see.
Do you think he could have taken Aronson off in the game? Who was probably having like a bit of a poor display.
I think he keeps Aronson on because he's I liken him to James and Dan James and Bielsa. He's his pressing machine. He's his pressing machine. I think that's why he starts with Pirro on Friday, because he probably backs Aronson to do the pressing for him. I think that's why Aronson stays on the pitch. I like Aronson, and I know there's been a few critiques of his last couple performance, which surprises me a little bit, because I think he's doing well, but everyone's got opinions. But no, I think he keeps Aronson on because of his defensive work. If he's taking Nonto and Ramazani off and his reasoning, look, we wanted to give him 60 minutes, Nonto wasn't getting back as much as he liked. I think he sees Aronson as a Duracell bunny vibe and knows that he'll just run all day. And so I think that's why he probably stays on as long as he does.
Fair enough. Dean says, good morning. Would you take Click back on a 5-month loan as cover? I think no, mate. I think that's probably.
I think it's nostalgia more than anything, isn't it? I don't think Click's. Yeah, the ship's sailed.
Yeah. You guys look small on the screen, guys. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I sort of flick between this, but me and Joe are a little bit like, are you zooming in our big heads? What do you reckon, Joe? This or not?
I don't mind it, bro. I don't mind.
I'll stick with this. If there you go. If it's we did this with Brownie the other day, and he wasn't too happy. But yeah, we'll keep it like this if it's a bit small. Yeah. Dean also says, I know I just mentioned about bringing Click back on a 5-month loan, but Alioski as a free agent, just give him a 1-year contract.
We've got cover for Firpo, though. We don't need that.
Yeah,
Byram and Schmidt.
Yeah. I think, yeah, mate. Dean, I get what you're saying, bud. I get what you're saying, but I think we've got to move on from this. And plus, you got Alioski over here in a Fred Perry jacket, so don't worry about that, mate. I'll get my boots on. But yeah, it's interesting.
Football Factory Alioski, that's what you look like.
But yeah, I think it's interesting with Farker. Yeah, I mean, I guess that is probably the first counterpoint, Joe. I felt he gives them their last 15, and I think we'll win that game. And I guess it's one of them where you looked at the bench. The bench was nowhere near good enough, but I thought we had them pressed back. And I'm not 100% sure that Aronson gave us any sort of even pressing outlet when those two went off. I just thought the whole unit. Yeah. I mean, I've seen Bamford right wing, I think got touch of the ball, but I guess it, like you said, preservation for the Sunderland game, and in a sense, it worked. Now we saw the lineup. I saw the lineup a little bit late. Peru for Joseph.
Shock,
We've agreed with this. We've agreed on this, haven't we, several times about Joseph and sticking with him and all this sort of stuff. Look, no agendas from me. He scores the goal. You can't.
It worked, bro. I felt.
Yeah. How can I sit here and say, it didn't work when he scored the goal? I still think on the bits that I saw that he just wasn't giving us an outlet. But it's the yin and the yang in it, Joe. It's in chat. Let us know what you think. It's the yin and yang. It's the fact that people were calling for Perot to be axed last January, even though he was scoring sort of 1 goal every 3 games or 1 goal every 2 games, because he wasn't doing the other bits and he was out of the game. I didn't think he was amazing in this game, I have to say. However, he got the goal. So it's a very difficult one to talk about because I think Joseph brings more to the side. But I think if on an individual basis, I think Perot brings a lot. I think he's a defensive almost striker. I think Joseph brings a hell of a lot. I think he's a better outlet. Gets us further up the pitch quicker. Battles with defenders better, but Perot he's ruthless and he's a bit of an assassin in front of goal, and I guess he has developed. Since last season, he's already got 5-6 goals. So where do you stand on it, mate? Ideally, we'd love it. I know me and you've spoken about it before, but we want a front 2, don't we? We'd love a front 2 of Joseph and Perot. That'd be fantastic, but I don't think we're ever going to get that.
No, I don't think that. 4-4-2.
Do you know? I thought I've said previously that Farker's never going to play it, but if somehow
I think we look rubbish with the 4-4-2 though, mate, with Perot and Bamford. Do you not think?
Perot and Bamford.
It was only similar sort of vibe.
Yeah, Perot and Bamford. I do think maybe Joseph gives a lot more. I wonder if there was elements where we could move into a diamond. I don't know, but he's never going to do that. So there's no point talking about it. But yeah, I'd just be interested to see them both together and how that'd work. But what are your thoughts then overall?
On Norwich or Pirro? Yeah, Pirro, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Against Sunderland, yeah.
Shocked. Like really shocked, bro. Like I can't lie. I was saying that I was very critical. Those who watched my watch long, I was very critical. I say I don't know how this will work. And then when we went one down, I went, and we've got Pirro up top, man. You know what I mean? Genuinely, because I thought we're done out here. Like after that first 15,
you can't get
10
on the
minutes,
pitch, can you? But you're right. You're right. You can't get the pitch.
That was my point. And they were playing like some prime Beelzebub. I said on the get, I said, we're going to get cooked here. We're going to get absolutely cooked. And I don't know if it was a mental thing or an instruction by Reggie Lebris, but he told them a bit like we do. He went right off them. And their mid block was not good enough. You know what I mean? They don't have it like, say, we have it or Burnley had it in that low block. They just stood off. And I think that was the wrong tactic, if indeed it was a tactic, or maybe it was a mental decision by the players. But then all Leeds just started to strangle the ball. I'm not a tactico, so I couldn't really tell you. But yeah, I think Pirro, like you said, and someone made a good point on the final word last night. Maybe Farke felt that chances were not going to be a lot for Leeds, and therefore he needed a clinical finisher. And Pirro is that. I think Nonto should get a lot of praise for the ball. He puts it on a sixpence. I think it was Nonto that played the ball for the Norwich game, actually, when he scored in that game in the playoff semi. That played that ball that Pirro scored, if you remember.
Yeah.
But obviously that's something that they've worked on and something we probably will get a lot of fruit from if they continue to do that. And if he continues to play with Pirro. I think after the international break, he's going to start with Pirro. So as an experiment, Connor, I think it worked, bro. And look, at the end of the day, we know, had we have been beaten, we'd all be sat here now going, why did he start Pirro? So we have to give him praise for doing it and actually getting the fruits of the labour for doing that. You know what I mean? He deserves praise for that, in my opinion. And I thought Pirro deserves praise as well. And, you know, it was right when he brought Joseph on. I was thinking, you know, this could be a ploy now. Like, we'll get Pirro on, we'll get him front, and then Joseph, boom, you know, comes on and, does a lot of pressing and that. But, yeah. What did you make to it, mate? Because I know we both prefer Joseph, I think. So what do you reckon for him being the main man? Do you think it worked?
Yeah, and chat let us know as well. Yeah, I do. He scored the goal, and I can't. Yeah. Brownie says it to me all the time. He goes, "He scored a goal," and I'm like, "Well, yeah." I mean, 100%. I mean, I still think you score a goal, and there's potentially, 89 more minutes to influence the game. I think defending from the front is weaker. I think he's a lot weaker in the press. But you're right with what you say about Aronson. Pressing wise, Joe, it'd be ideal at some point. I don't think they've got the quality between them all, and you will never see this. But imagine Joseph, Aronson, and James, in that front four. I don't think that'll ever happen, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'd like to see that happen. But from a press perspective, Jesus Christ, we're winning the ball up high a lot. I do think we'll suffer with Peru. As a this isn't like, look, we'll be honest. It happened last season. We've seen it. We know what he's like. We know where he. Where he's very weak, where he's very strong. I think what he's managed to do this season though is how many goals did he get last year? 12? Was it 12, 13?
14, I think.
Was it 14? Like to say
all
he's on
comps, maybe, yeah.
To say what by the 4th of October he's already on 5-6 goals. He's almost halved that already. With months and months to go. So yeah, and I think that was in all comps, wasn't it? So that's impressive, and he's clearly developed on that front. The thing is, Perot he's already shown us he can do a little bit of both. I'd still be leaning towards bringing him on when they're tired. I think that suits him a hell of a lot.
Yeah,
I think what was the game, Joe, where he fired it across into the bottom of Cardiff? I think that was just symptomatic of where Perot he peeled off. They were knackered. We'd hounded them down all game. Then he just drills it into the net and. But that's not considered to work every time, is it, Joe? Because he might not get the minutes. He might not make the impact against some of the better teams. So I'm sort of I get it. I do get it. I think Joseph's got way more to his game, but Peru is. If this was any other position, I'd be choosing Joseph, but it's a striker. So yeah, so yeah. I guess he's vindicated on that front, mate.
Yeah, definitely.
Marty says, I still like the Pro 65th minute. Farke will get us up this season, I have no doubt. It worked up top with Pro versus Sunderland. I'm of the opinion, says Remy, that if we can get both playing well, it can only be better for us. Horses for courses, get them both scoring, and we'll be cooking. Mr. Dodo's.
But can I just ask there in response to that?
Yep.
And I know you wanted to. Who are you getting rid of? Who's dropping out?
Yeah. You'd have to change formation, wouldn't you? Or
that's the thing, isn't it? So, like, you then just dropping Aronson out there and going with a 4-4-2. I don't know. Off the ball, maybe, but I don't know if it'll work.
Yeah. Right. We have to talk about him. Joe Wayman said he's the best keeper in the championship last year, but he has pulled back on it. To be fair to him, I'll give him his credit.
Yeah.
Elan Melier. Now, Mr. Wayman is probably the most positive fan I've ever met in my life. I've known this man for a number of years, and he is absolutely positive about every aspect of Leeds, and he's a joyous content creator because of that. And that's why I give him a little bit of slack with this. But even Brownie is coming on, and he's of very much the same mentality as Joe, and he's struggling with Melier, mate. I mean, you look at this season, the Portsmouth goal at the start. He's got to save that for me. Doesn't do it. You've spoken quite rightly about the Norwich one. How do you stay down the middle and miss the ball when it goes down the middle? I don't understand that. I know you said earlier on, Joe, that with Melier, you kind of frowned a little bit, because I remember saying on the Counterpoint that, you know, I expect him to do more when it comes to penalties. But I think from your perspective, it was very much like, yeah, but penalties are more in favour of the person.
But not this one, mate. I actually took a lot of flack on the post-match for this, because everyone said what I would normally say, the onus is on the goal scorer, you know? And then it was like, oh, well, he shifted his body weight over to go to the left and he couldn't. But I watched it back. He didn't. No.
He stood there, didn't he?
He stood there. He doesn't make any movement. He goes like this. He doesn't like go, right, I'm going, and then, and goes back. He's literally stood there. So, and even if he had committed to go to the left, like the keeper did for Strauch, his feet saved that penalty.
Yeah, they do. He's
you know what I mean?
He's not a small keeper.
No,
I don't understand.
He dives over it, bro.
Yeah, he does.
Like, I think he makes himself look worse by diving after the ball's gone under him. All he had to do, look, I'm not a goalkeeper, and people who are goalkeepers, but I looked at that penalty, and even on my reaction, I was like, he's got to fucking save that.
I agree, and these are things where, like, I remember all the scum fans would always say about De Gea, like, you know, it'd be 13, 15 points a season. Joe, with this guy, I know he's a good keeper. Well, he's an all right keeper. I think it gets to a point, and I don't know if you agree with this, but I really think that when he catches a ball, when he handles a ball, we are now as a fan base turning around and going, "Oh my God, look at that! That was incredible. That was amazing." Look, I saw him slowing down the game the other day, and I was happy he was doing it. It was great. But the praise he was getting for slowing the ball down and just taking an extra sort of 2 or 3 seconds, I was thinking every other goalkeeper would do that in this division. I'm not here to slam him. I do, and I don't know about you as well, mate, but I think now there's a bit of a problem with this content creation space and / social media, where if you critique, the problem is there's too fine a line between that and how some people perceive abuse. I think abuse when you're going out, you're directly calling a player this, that, and the other, which we don't do.
Some of it was bad, bro. After the game,
yeah. I'll be honest, mate, because I was away, I didn't see any of it. But from what I was seeing,
he's a human, bro. He's a human.
Yeah, 100%.
And he plays for our football club, man.
100%. You know, you support the guy. He winds me up no end. But I don't think he's good enough, and I've made that abundantly clear in here. But you can never do that. And on this channel, maybe you'll get more people who maybe, you know, have a different point of view, so they come on here and expect me to say X, Y, and Z. I'd never say that. Never, ever say that. And you have got to think a little bit before you say certain things. And sometimes, you know, that gets social media is a bad metric of that. But I think the problem is, Joe, the line is being blurred. Some people seem to think that if you criticize a player, it's abuse. It's not that. Or, you know, we're all big boys, put our big boy pants on, big girls, big girl pants on. And we can say, if not, so that's why we do these channels, Joe, because there's no point in doing these channels if you can't praise but critique as well. It's completely, you know, abundantly clear about that. And I'm not hammering the guy, but for me, already, Portsmouth, Norwich, and the other day.
Well, you could argue, Connor, he's cost us this season, not saved us yet.
Yeah,
like last season, he saved us against Leicester, and he probably cost us in a few as well. But this season, he hasn't saved. And what really frustrates me,
already in the minuses when it comes to goal prevention.
Yes, yeah, that's the point. But what really frustrates me is, but like, he's not right. I don't care when we're talking about the keeper. I don't care about the error that Rodon made for giving away the pen. I don't care about the error I don't know who made the foul. I think it was Bogle. I don't care about errors leading up to it. We get all that. It's when, all the errors have been made. Fair enough. Solomon slip, whatever. Bogle not getting out, all them errors have made. But ultimately, is the last line of defense. So you want to think the only time I have confidence in Melliot at the minute is when he's one-on-one. That's the only time. He made a good one-on-one save actually in the Sunderland game. I forget who it was against. When he's on rushing and he's quite big and he gets himself quite big. I mean, I remember he's very good at one-on-ones, in my opinion. But short stopping and all that sort of stuff, if I don't have confidence. I don't, mate. And that's never good. Whereas you could probably go around the division, there'll be a lot of people that'll go, oh, look, we'll back him. We'll back him in this situation. But I don't, it's poor, the penalty, the error. We can talk about the fucking thing, whatever, the sprinkler it hit or whatever, but he could have kicked it. He could have dove on it. He could have done anything. You can maybe even talk about the concussion. Well, if that's the case, he should have gone off. All this sort of stuff all have to be taken in.
I can't believe what I saw. I'm still not over it.
Yeah, I am. I'm done with it. But yeah, I've not gone to shop on that yet round here. I'm gonna get cooked. I'm bloody famous in Sunderland, man. I'm on all them banter pages. I'm gonna be walking around with a hat and fucking glasses round here, man. I tell you.
So the old Leeds TV video going across as well, because it was like, now we got to Leeds United when they've conceded in the last minute, and there's that one going round. But yeah, mate, I think it was. I mean, obviously, I've seen the excuses. For me, there's no excuses with him when it comes to that. I couldn't believe it. Have you seen his body stance when he's approaching the ball? That's one thing that I noticed when he was approaching the ball. His stance is so narrow when he's approaching the ball that, look, it's never going to... But if it was a wet day, a really, really awful sort of like pissing down weather, it's just going to skid across the turf, and you're not giving yourself any sort of time to maneuver, and your body stance isn't wide enough so you can make a reaction. Your balance is all off. And then, I just couldn't believe it. What I won't buy into as much is the sort of like stuff afterwards with Regis Labrise and him laughing and stuff like that. I think they used to be his coach, and it's not a good look. It's not a good look. He shouldn't have done it, but it's not a good look.
He's not aware in that moment of, you're not. He's had an error, and like you mentioned, Regis Labrise was his coach. He's probably gone, what was that?
Firpo's getting flack though. I can't believe what I'm seeing. I can't believe. Why is he getting flack? Because he's going off the pitch and pissed off. I'd be livid if I'm on that pitch, and you would be too.
I'm just laughing at you saying you're ready for fighting on 5-a-side.
I would. I swear to God, we've got a keeper, and he might be watching this. He's a Leeds fan. He's Ginger Jim, right? And he's a goalkeeper. Sometimes I absolutely can't. He's a good goalkeeper, Jim, and I love him to pieces. He's fantastic on his far post. He's near post, Joe. I don't know what it is with goalkeepers in the near post, and I've lost my mind with Jim a fair few times because that near post. So, but it comes all the way back to basic sporting premise, mate, of everybody being competitive, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing when it came to Firpo. But overall, mate, I just
the thing is as well with Firpo, like his emotions are up here at that time. He'll have apologized since, like, and in the changing room said, Mez, I shouldn't have, blah, 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 blah. But at that moment in time, he's allowed to react however he wants. Like, I don't get it either, mate. When people say it's not a good look, we should all look. He's pissed off. Would you rather he go over and pretend? Like, and give him a cuddle when really he's seething? He's just like, get out of my way. I mean, one at coaching staff tried, and he went, nah, get off me, didn't he? And went down the tunnel, and that's fine because people react differently. People react differently. He
scored the winner, didn't he? He scored the winning
goal.
Yeah.
I guess, that's where Illy's seen it as well. Yeah, definitely. And
so where do we stand with him, Joe? Where do we stand with his goalkeeper? Do we at any point
can't replace him, bro? People are saying drop him. There's no one good enough, man.
Well, is it a bigger problem then? Because how many times do it? Your vice captain, unbelievable.
I think he'll be. Look, I know he's cost us, but it won't. And this might come back to haunt me. but it won't.
Hold on. Clippers in the chat. Clippers.
It won't come. It might come back to haunt me, but I don't think he's going to cost us promotion. Is my point. We can address it in the summer. Imagine that one. We've got to win one game, and he throws it in last day.
Serious chat, though, isn't it? Miss out on two points.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But I just think I know this proper triggers people for some reason, but I've got a lot of confidence in my team. And I don't think it's misplaced. I think we're going to be all right. I still think we'll be top two quite comfortably. But yeah, look, there's a conversation to be had in the Premier League because, my God, I didn't even think he was that bad in the Prem, but he seemed to have got worse, Connor. He seems to be going backwards from a goalkeeping perspective. You imagine remember the goalkeeper we got, Arsenal debut, then the goalkeeper we got that replaced Kiko. He's levels below that now. He was good, man. We were talking about, we're going to make some money on this guy and all that sort of stuff. Indeed, to say he's cost us one promotion already is disingenuous. He didn't cost us promotion last season. Melly, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Did he? Did he, Connor? I'm asking you. Did he cost us promotion?
No, he didn't. I don't think he can directly cost, because, like you said, Joe, you can look at anything really. You can look at the whole team not performing against Southampton. You can look at those 3 wins in 11, and as much as I've looked at Farke for that, you can look at so many different, missed opportunities, defensive lapses. I think the problem I find with this keeper is I don't think they've got any confidence in him. I don't think the back line have got any confidence in him. I think you've seen already this season Ampadu, Rodon turning around, shouting at him. I think Firpo, I was down at Ellen Road for the Coventry game, and there was one time where he put it up into the bleachers and Firpo turned around to him and just went. And I'm not sure.
Rodon gets annoyed a lot.
Rodon loses his mind at him, doesn't he? So I worry a little bit that this team doesn't have confidence in him a little bit. But, I don't know, Joe. We can't do anything, and they don't seem to think it's a problem. Which baffles me. But can
you expect Farke to come out and criticize, and be like, he's the worst keeper in the league?
No, he can't do it. He can't do that. And the problem is that's why keeper's such a sensitive position, because they have to have confidence. If they don't have confidence, it's such a precious position. You can't replace goalkeepers. You can't keep doing it. You can replace strikers. We've seen that. You cannot do that with goalkeepers.
Those that are talking about save percentage and that, there's a few coming in now. He's now 6th in the league, folks. By the way, for save percentage, and I'm not backing him here, but I'm just being fair. Because everyone's saying he's got, like my man said, he's 19th or lower prevented for the last 5 years straight. Again, context Premier League and the shoddy defending. I get it. But this season he's 6th so far. So, yeah. And the penalties as a metric, it's difficult. I agree with the Norwich one. Others, the onus is always on. I'm just being fair. I'm just giving a counterpoint. I'm not saying he's the be all and end all. But let's give some context. I'm on about save percentage. I don't know about goals prevented. I don't know how that stats calculate me. I'm not statico, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's pretty mad that he's put that conceded all. Penalties needs to improve. I think we're all pretty.
But some keepers are good at them. Emi Martinez, some are shit. It is what it is, But yeah, the Norwich one was bad. I agree, but I got battered for that on my own channel.
Are these the marginal gains, though, Joe? Penalty saves.
Yeah, of course they are. Just like set pieces. Yeah, 100%, man. Look at Arsenal, bro. Look at, you mentioned it on your own. You made a very good point about the best set piece on most conversion rate. You've got City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and then I don't know who else was. But yeah, at the end of the day, of course, Lockie speaks about them a lot as well. Like, them marginal gains are the ones that will get you over the line. And, we seem to be ahead of our time when we had that bloody Gianni Vio set piece coach. Now everybody's got them and we ain't got one. I wish someone would say to Farke, do you fancy getting one? Because something needs to change. Although I do think Rothwell's delivery was much better than Gruev's from corners. So I think we could start to see some fruits of the labour soon. Hopefully, by the end of the year.
All right, my friend, I need to play this clip. They thought that when you recruit someone like Rothwell, you look at Tanaka and you see.
Let it go, bro. Rothwell shite. Just let it go.
He can't.
No, he's not shy.
You've backed the wrong horse.
Hang on. Did Wayman just say that Rothwell is shite?
Yeah, I've never
shite, man.
Wayman, what are you on about? He's not.
I've never said anything about Graham.
The Rothwell glazing for a guy that's played about 20 minutes at
listen,
Leeds United is brutal.
I want people to clip this up now, and if Joe ever says that we're overly negative, I want them to bring it back. He's calling one of our players we haven't even seen very much shite.
I had to do it, mate.
That's fair, bro. I had to take my medicine.
Right. You're in kangaroo court. How do you plead?
Guilty as charged, mate. Guilty as charged.
To all charges.
Yeah.
What I will say, mate, is in all fairness to you, it's not been a big sample size, and I always go on about sample size. I've judged Aronson on sample sizes and said, look, I'm not 100% sure still. I've not seen enough games, but in all fairness, look, we've not seen a lot of him. But
he was great, mate.
Maybe a bit better than you thought originally.
Yes, he was. He was great. I think what most impressed me was when we were going left to right, and there wasn't an option on. He just pop it in behind, and he played a lovely little ball over the top to Pirot that he got, and it just mixed it up. And I think there was a lot more variation, with the way that we played. So I was massively impressed, mate, and long may it continue. Now, the point I do want to make on the midfield, and again, it's how do you like your poison, right? Which do you prefer?
Yeah.
And what I will say with them two in midfield, we've become a lot more porous. Yeah. Because we've gone away. Tough places to go, and maybe it'll change against lesser opposition because these two were two decent teams that we went up against in Norwich and Sunderland. But we conceded chances. We conceded 3 goals. We were clean sheets before that. There was a couple of times against Sunderland where if Joe Bellingham could finish, he could have got 3, man. Like no one was picking him up on the edge of the box. There was a few times. So there is that side of it. But going forward, yes, much better. But and again, I'd said before, I was willing to accept the trade-off of risk-averse football if it meant we dominated. And you can see now that we probably will give up more chances with this midfield, but we'll probably look better going forward. I don't know if the stats back that up, but if we just look at the goals alone and the chances, like you might not have seen obviously, but in that first half there was a few times, and I mentioned it on the watch along, no one is picking him up, and there was 3 times that the ball was cut back and Joe Bellingham was on the edge of the box. People that would have watched the game, would have seen that. So it is a trade-off. But from what I saw, especially when you consider they barely trained together, I just wish they weren't on international duty to Naka because they're not going to get together again. But even Farker mentioned it. We've had to adjust the tactics differently because we've got a different midfield. So we're probably going to see a more exciting Leeds United because of that midfield. But there is a trade-off, and then we're relying on the keeper more. So it's like, how do you want your poison? Do you know what I mean? But maybe it was due to the standard of opposition though, because Sunderland carved us up. Norwich are a good side. When we get this Sheffield United game out of the way, we've got a very good run. Will they be able to create? Maybe not. But yeah, that's the trade-off, Connor. Is that how you see it? Like it's very defensive-minded with. Although Gruev was playing as an 8, I can see now. And this, I've always maintained this. I've always said this when people were telling me Tanaka needs to play. I've said, until I see it, I'm happy with my lot. I get criticised saying, "Oh, Joe didn't see him play and he's calling him shite." I'm just like, it's a throwaway line. Oh, he's shite, man. The glazing it is like, please, it's not black and white. But I back the manager. It's the same with Anthony. People tell me Anthony's not shite. Well, at Leeds United, he was shite. He didn't play. Of course, he might be a player in there, but no. Look, Rothwell, I am happy, and I've already said I'm sorry. I won't. I was not. What does what does Shaq? No, I was not familiar with your game. I was not familiar with your game. He was great, mate. Arguably man at match if Nonto doesn't play. So yeah,
really I thought he did well as well. With coming on in the Norwich game as well. Obviously, we had the issue. I think he came on for about 40 odd minutes, and he I thought he did really well. I just thought he did really well. I just thought he just grabbed all the game. He doesn't look bothered, does he? Like, he doesn't. That's the thing with Rothwell. Like, no occasion seems to get to him, I don't think. And that you've seen that we've had 2 big occasions the last week, and he just seems to take it in his stride, really, and doesn't hide from it. Goes and gets the ball on the back foot consistently. And I think this is what I was saying, Joe, and what I was trying to articulate, that there's obviously just a massive difference in us going forward with Rothwell in there. And I think that advocate, do I want to have Tanaka and Rothwell in there long term? Probably not. Like, that's still probably not. But I've always tried to maintain the fact that I think there needs to be a balance in there, whether or not that's Gruev and maybe Tanaka, or Ampadu and Rothwell, or Ampadu and, you know, Ampadu and Rothwell, Rothwell and Tanaka, vice versa. But I think, yeah, it's a good problem to have for Daniel Farke, I think. But yeah, Rothwell has looked. I think he's.
Well, we're there till probably January anyway, aren't we? So we gotta. That's how it's going to be.
Are you of the opinion that we should be going out and do it? To be fair, and you mentioned the. You also mentioned the Job thing. I mentioned that in my preview. I was convinced like he's going to, and that's why I wasn't as confident. I have to be honest. I wasn't confident going into it. I wasn't. I thought we've been disrupted a little bit here. Their midfield. I remember last season sort of got on top of us in phases. I remember Clark sort of rinsing Archie quite a bit, and us getting a little bit further back. They scored, then they sat back, but they're able to do that with an outlet of Jack Clark. I don't think they've got the same with Mundell really, but. Yeah, mate. I just think that balance in there is going to be nice in the long term. But are we going to concede chances? Yeah, we are. I mean, but then again, I guess it's like what you were saying. You were saying. I remember like last week where you were saying sort of Gruev was the further forward body in that midfield pivot. So maybe you're looking at Tanaka dropping a little bit deeper and facilitating that role as we go forward. But they've got to build up that partnership, I think.
Yeah, and that's more game time together will be better. That's why I'm gutted about the bloody the international break. I think they're just both so press resistant as well, mate. I just love the way that they, when they just do that little swivel and then all of a sudden they've just opened up loads of space. Very Forshaw-esque. Forshaw was very good at that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, both very press resistant, calm, cool, calculated. I just think we're probably going to ship a lot more chances, or maybe we won't. Maybe that's because the partnership's still in its infancy. They've only just started playing, all that sort of stuff. So, I'm confident though. This was the point I made after as well. And again, those that like, I know we drew, but all it's done is further increase my confidence that Leeds are going to be fine, because we went there to the best team in the league, by all accounts, according to league position, because that's what people keep telling me. We're not the best team, because we're not first. Yeah. I'm not too sure about that, but that if they're the best team and that's the bar, then we're past the bar. So.
Yeah, I agree. I thought the exact same. I thought if that's what they're, I mean, the celebrations, by the way.
Half of them had left the fucking ground by the way. They all left, man.
But on social media as well, like, I'm a little bit like, I retweeted one of them last night, and I can't believe that. Okay, we've had an absolute gaff. We're moments away from winning the game, of course, but I thought for that lad, what did they do in the second half? I don't know what they did in the second half. They didn't do anything. Defensively we were resolute, weren't we, Joe?
Yeah.
First half, we created a fair few chances. I think we ended the game with like 2.77 XG. They had 1.88 or something like that. In their backyard, us doing that, battered with injuries, completely new midfield, for us to do that, and their celebrations afterwards. I thought, don't get me wrong, like, I get it. Take the mick out of Leeds, but what I've seen online, what I've seen, in the ground, those celebrations afterwards when they're all piling on top of each other, I'm like, it felt like the fact that we're more disappointed, and I know the gaff happened to us, I get it, but the fact that we're more disappointed and they're as buzzing as they are to get a point against us, which they are, they can't deny that gives me a lot of confidence on and off the pitch, to be honest.
Yeah, like they'd won the league, wasn't it? But yeah, I think sometimes, like, we let them have the ball, bro, in that second half. Do you know what I mean? Like, my mate who plays at a decent level was at the game, and he messaged me and went, listen, it was perfect game plan. He said, you took, like, it was the perfect away performance if it weren't for the gaff, bro.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's the next big one. And then after that, we've got a decent run. So let's see. And you could argue Sheffield United are the team to beat, really, because they've had two. They had a -2. So if you give them that, they're probably on the same as Sunderland. And they've not been beat yet. They're the only team in the league, I think, that haven't been beat. We've lost one. There's a couple that West Brom have lost one, but they haven't been beat yet. Now, some of their results, I mean, I look at the Swansea one, the own goal and that, they're getting a bit fortuitous, but they are the team to beat, I would argue. So let's see that game. It's at Elland Road. It's a Friday. Last time we played them Elland Road at Friday, I was there and we got fucking walloped, by the way, on a Friday night. I think it was
I remember that, yeah.
3, I think it could have been,
3,
maybe.
Yeah.
I went for Sean's birthday, man. We were in Bop, one of the oh my god, sat in fucking suits, not even allowed to stand up, and then we got walloped 3-0. I was like, for fuck's sake, get me out in Leeds.
Does it feel to you that they're playing at home every week, Sheffield United? Or is it just every time I look at the fixtures, they're at home?
No, that's tough that we had them 2 away games as well, bro. You got to factor that in because Norwich, Sunderland. How many training sessions do you reckon they had? 1?
Yeah, 1. Well, Sheffield got a point there at Norwich as well earlier on in the season, and there's an argument that they hadn't hit the pomp. Norwich are playing really well at the minute. Won 4-0, didn't they, at the weekend?
Yeah.
But just having a look at some of the fixtures as well. It feels like very 1-0 to the Arsenal. They're winning every game sort of like 1-0. It feels. I think they've had 3 or 4 1-0s already at home. Sheffield United, they've had a 2-0 obviously at the weekend. But you look at the fixtures and similar ones to us in a sense. I think probably the most impressive one they've had is Watford at home. But they've had Portsmouth, Derby.
But Watford are dropping like a stone now.
Yeah, they are.
They keep getting beat. Do you know what I mean? So
I'm not. I don't think they've had the most difficult start. I'll say that. Just having a look at the fixtures now, I don't think they've had the most difficult start. I think even some of the tougher games they've had, they've been at home, and that is true. Their away games, I guess, in all fairness, you can have Norwich, but it's not the Norwich that we played 100%. Hull away from home, Portsmouth away from home, which they didn't win.
Looking at it now, I've just had a quick look. Right, they've got us, then they've got Borough, then they play Stoke, okay, which is easy, but then they've got Blackburn away. You know what I mean? So they've got some tough games coming up, and then they've got the Sheffield derby.
Yep.
So they've got a Coventry away. They've got some difficult games coming up. So let's see.
Indeed, and Gustavo Hamer, interestingly, was on the bench. So obviously
really?
I think the bit when I look at that Sheffield United side is the bit that I'm a little bit worried about, maybe, and we can come back to this, is probably that midfield with Sousa and Arblaster.
Arblaster's injured, isn't he?
Is he? Did he get injured at the weekend? I know he was playing.
No, he's been injured, bro.
Oh, no, he's played at the weekend. Just having a look at that.
Oh, did he? Is he back?
He must have been back. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought it was long term. My bad.
Yeah, so he was back in, obviously, and then you got O'Hare just in front of them. So I mentioned this on a video yesterday, Joe. I think it's probably going to be quite similar to, O'Hare and Job are different players. Obviously, one's probably box to box, more athletic, a little bit like his brother in Jude. But O'Hare's probably a little bit more of the lock picker. I think that's going to be interesting to see against maybe a Rothwell and Tanaka.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Because whenever I've watched Sheffield United, he's been key, as has Hamer, to be honest. So surprised he was dropped. But it'll be interesting to see how we cope with that. It'll be interesting to see how they come to Elland Road. What will be their plan? How will he set them up? Will he play in a low block? He could, do that. And look to catch us on the counter because they do have players that can cause us pain. Obviously, Kiefer Moore's still not scored. So I don't know if the Sheffield United fans are enamoured with him as much as they thought when they first signed him. So he's struggling for goals. So we'll see. I think Sheffield United fans are maybe getting a little bit too gassed. They're a good side, don't get me wrong. But like I had someone message me on the comments, like saying, name me one Leeds player that gets in our side, none, and all that. And I'm a bit like, I mean, come on, you're doing too much. Let's not get too giddy. The
yellow card thing's interesting, obviously, because Hamer's suffering it here, and it's been safe for us. I mean, not bad for bringing him off the bench, is it? Is it, Joe? I mean, someone like Gus Hamer, what a player. But on top of that, obviously, we've got, I think it's Rodon, who's on 4. I think Nonto's on
4 maybe as well.
4, and Firpo, yeah. So
Bogle possibly as well, maybe. He's had a few.
So
I tell you what, big up to Bogle, by the way.
Yeah.
Because he's really, really improved. And I'd love him a dunk on the blades. I can't lie to you. Imagine that back post. Boga!
Imagine the crap he's going to get. Imagine what he's going to get.
Give me this.
Yeah,
that
would be
I
brilliant.
hope he don't go if he scored one of them. Oh, no, it's all right. Fuck that. Give it all that, man.
Give it the shush.
Shush.
It's a wilder. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. But I'll tell you what, mate. We'll leave it there because we want a little bit of stuff to talk about tonight on the debrief as well.
I'm gonna get cooked there as well, am I?
I don't know, mate. To be honest, I've not spoke to Gabe. I think
Gabe will come for me. Don't you worry about that.
Come with that. Listen, Joe.
I know, yeah. I'll just go, whatever. It's football, not soccer.
Right, guys, we'll leave it there anyway. This is the Counterpoint. It's on my show and Joe's show every single week. There's over 1,000 of you in the building. Please make sure you're slapping a like on the video on all platforms. Really appreciate it. We'll be back with the debrief later on. And yeah, guys, we'll see you in a bit. Cheers.
Bye.